Check this out. We got the story from The Nation. Border Patrol responsible for Portland arrest. An internal memo obtained exclusively by The Nation details a coordinated program of domestic counterinsurgency. Man, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
Oh,
when in reality,
they nailed that.
Let me decontextualize that, or not recontextualize it. Federal officers are going to arrest whiny, progressive, upper middle class kids
that are throwing bricks at federal buildings.
Yeah.
And trying to light it on fire.
I think the reason they write it that way, and I'm more than happy to use the language, is because it sounds fun and exciting. Now, granted, these guys are nuts. They're trying to bash people over the head with hammers. So yeah, I think it's fair to say, like, I think what's interesting about the framing of it is that it's positive for the federal law enforcement to literally call Antifa insurgency. Justifies what the feds are doing.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Let's read a little bit, and I'll just show you the straight documents. But more importantly, look at this image. This is cool. Is this like, what is this? Is this like an actual photo?
I mean, and what I see, before we even get into it, reading that title, you know what I think most people are thinking?
Cool.
Finally. Yes. Awesome. End it, please. Stop this.
It's a massive PR weapon for them. They are milking this to the most absurd degree. It's exactly the trap that was described. Mm-hmm. And now we're seeing all the Democrats, from mayors, senators, all the resistance people, like, dude, these videos out of Portland probably have a collective 15+ million views. Yeah, it's going crazy. It's reaching.
Of which side, though? Of Antifa destroying
Antifa
stuff?
being the good guys.
Being the good guy, exactly.
Being victimized and oppressed.
Pushing that out.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's bad. That's very, very bad for Trump and law enforcement, because they're going to use this. And so a lot of people have said, like, what should the feds do? Should they back off? Tough call. But you know what I'm going to say? If the feds keep cleaning up the mess for these Democrat city mayors, then these people in the cities will keep voting for them.
That's a good point.
It's like when you have a kid having a temper tantrum and the parent just keeps giving them whatever they want, the kid's never going to stop. So these people come out, they destroy the city. They start romping about starting fires, tearing down statues. And the Portland government goes, we're out.
Yep.
It's all you, bye. And then what happens? The federal law enforcement says, okay, I guess we're going to have to arrest these guys. Occupying army.
Yeah.
Let's read a little bit. The Nation writes, so mind you, The Nation is very left biased, very important to understand, but they're the only one. They're like, this is their exclusive, document release. So let's see how they frame things. They say, for days, federal agents in unmarked cars have reportedly been snatching Portland protesters off the streets. That's right, snatching Portland protesters. Okay,
well, already.
We just got to fix it. Okay, they're detaining rioters.
Right.
I'm not trying to be biased against anybody. They're literally people wearing masks and helmets, throwing things at cops.
And trying to light fires.
Literally lighting fires.
Yeah. No, they are lighting fires. Right, exactly.
Protesters. Oh, man. But I'm telling you, man, when these videos go viral and you don't see any of that, and you just see a dude putting his hands up, and they're like, look at these peaceful protesters being black bagged by unmarked Gestapo. Regular people see it and they're like, whoa, because they don't know what happened.
Right.
I got something crazy for you guys, though. We got to talk about this. Some people, so here's the context, right? They mention that the federal agents are, snatching up these protesters because a video went viral, a couple of them, where a van pulls up, some guys jump out and they're wearing like DHS patches and police, but they're in like full camo, and they walk up and a guy puts his hands up, and this woman's like, use your words. The feds grab the guy, bring him in the van, take him away. According to one of these stories, one of these guys, it might be the same guy, not sure, was questioned for about an hour and a half before he was released. I didn't realize this. I should have realized this. It's my fault. A lot of people are saying they were snatching up an informant. That's why they weren't actually arrested. During Occupy Wall Street, there was somebody that most people, I would say, bordering on almost confirmed, there was somebody that everybody was like, we have reason to believe this person is a confidential informant for the police.
Okay.
For a variety of reasons. I'm going to keep it private because I don't want anybody to, bring this person up. But I remember one time when I was at Occupy, I was getting off a train a few blocks away, and I saw the dude standing on the corner, and then the squad car next to him, two cops just grabbed him, and he's like, no, what? And they arrested him. And I was like, whoa, I just watched this dude get arrested.
Yeah.
For what? So I go to the park and I'm like, yo, I just saw this guy get arrested. And they're like, yeah, so did we. And I was like, you did? Because I was just 3 blocks away. And they're like, no, right here.
What?
Wait a minute. And so what apparently happened was They arrested him
in front of everybody.
In front of everybody. And then when they were they drove him around, asked him like, what's going on? What are you doing? And when they were going to drop him off is when I walked up and I was like, hey, and then they grabbed him again, like, uh-oh, like he recognized him. And so apparently after the fact, people were like, hey, we heard you got arrested. Yeah, I was. No, we heard you got arrested twice in like 20 minutes. No, I don't know what you're talking about. So when this story comes out where you see a guy walking in the street and the cops jump out and carry him to the car and he's like, whoa, oh no, oh no, they got me.
That's a good point.
That way they can bring him in and he can say, all right, here's what they're doing. Here's what they said. Here's what I heard from these people. And they're like, all right, man, good job, buddy. Good job, Officer Smith.
So-and-so, yeah.
Yep. And then he's like, I'm going to go back out there. We'll just, you guys detained me. I'll complain.
Use your words. We love you.
So that could be a plant. It could be, an informant. Keep that in mind. We don't know for sure, though. But this kind of distrust among these far leftists it runs deep. The reason these rumors are popping up is because they're the ones probably saying it. Why weren't you charged with any crimes?
Right.
Why were you brought in and cut loose? All of us got arrested, and the cops know this, and they could pull people in specifically for this reason, sowing distrust.
Well, I don't know. At the same time, we got the guy who punched the police chief in New York City and was released with no bail.
I know.
Like, you can go.
I think that's bail reform. That's so
but
insane,
it's like he punched
I know.
The guy in the face. Like, what? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Hey, 2020's been fun, huh? Yeah. Well, check us out. Let me just pull up the actual documents. So these are apparently leaked to the nation. And I got to admit, upon looking at them, it's quite boring. It does not paint this picture of an action movie counterinsurgency. It's literally them being like, Donald Trump has signed an executive order to protect statues and federal facilities. We'll be deploying law enforcement to protect federal facilities.
Right.
It's literally like...
Exactly as he said.
But not even that. It's like, police officers, go police. There you go.
Yeah.
And they're like, Trump has launched a counterinsurgency. And like, they really view themselves as insurrectionists, revolutionaries.
Remember, they're the resistance.
I know. It's just, I'm
so cringy.
I'm so deeply offended by them calling themselves the resistance.
Yeah.
Like this, 50-year-old, 5'4", fat, balding dude who thinks he's a resistance warrior because he sits on the computer and complains about Trump all day. Like, no.
In his air conditioning basement.
The dudes that were like planting bombs to take out Nazis were the resistance. You're some dude sitting in his room complaining that the orange man is bad again.
Yep.
Or posting about this. Check this out. Public Affairs Guidance, CBP support to protect federal facilities and property. They say on June 26, the president issued an executive order protecting American monuments, memorials, and statues and combating recent criminal activity. In this order, the president directed that DHS shall provide as appropriate and consistent with applicable law personnel to assist with the protection of federal monuments, memorials, statues, or property. In furtherance of that directive, the acting Secretary of Homeland Security has formalized the DHS Protecting American Communities Task Force, PACT, to provide an ongoing assessment of potential civil unrest and property destruction and to address internal resource allocation and potential surge activity to ensure the continuing protection of people and property. Additionally, with the consent of other departments and agencies, DHS has determined that it is in the public interest and fiscally sound for the Federal Protective Service to partner with other federal law enforcement to execute the direction of the president. To that end, DHS began coordination with the Department of Justice and the Department of the Interior to establish information intelligence sharing and resource coordination as outlined in the order. CBP will be supporting this effort by deploying personnel to provide support over the July 4th holiday weekend, which has the potential for increased disruptive activity at specific locations across the country that could threaten our personnel and the federal facilities and property they protect. That's basically it. And then it names, the executive order and their statements and what they're going to do and some questions. What is CBP's role? Blah, blah, blah.
It feels like standard procedure.
Right. There's some documents got released saying, hey, we're going to enforce the law. We're going to, talk to people and go out and make sure people aren't, breaking stuff.
Oh my gosh, Tim.
It's the end of the world as we know it. But I'm loving the propaganda stuff they're pumping out.
Totally.
There's like a thread that's got 10,000 retweets, and it's this like white progressive, far left activist claiming that it is a really colorful depiction of Portland.
Okay.
And I got to admit, this thread, it sounds awesome. It sounds great. It like makes it seem like Portland is Escape from LA or like Escape from New York. They're like, for the past 4 weeks, Trump's federal army has been storming the streets, snatching people up and blackbagging them, barricading parks, taking over buildings. It is a nightmare here. You have no idea. They're gassing civilians, and it's like, wow. It's like, it really sounds like you're like watching some crazy, you're gonna go to Portland, and it's a bunch of whiny 20-somethings who are like, F the police, man. You're so dumb. You don't even do anything. And then the cops just like, I mean, it's a riot, so people are throwing bricks, starting fires, cops are firing tear gas and all that stuff. But it's just, man, it's not a revolution. You want to see you want to see insurrection. You want to see, like, look, I'll give it to these kids. I say kids, but some of these people are pretty old. So I'll give it to them that they certainly got anger and conviction. They're going to go out and do their thing. I can respect the demands, but I think they're insane regardless. But you want to watch real, watch the Ukraine stuff from the Euromaidan. I don't even know what you'd call it. Protest. It wasn't a riot because they had barricades. They had built massive walls defending. It was like civil war almost. I guess they called it. I don't know what you'd call it. I have no idea how you describe it. But in this area, there's one video where like a government APC comes up to the wall, and then you just see like dozens of Molotovs just in seconds, just pelting like from all over the place. And the whole thing is just engulfed in flames. That's nuts.
Yeah.
These videos are a bunch of kids going, use your words. Use your words.
We love you.
You're violating his rights. Yeah, we love you. We love you.
We'll defend you.
We'll get you out. Oh, man. But it is 48 days of just like low tier violence. And I think to be fair, I think there's a reason why they're not doing like what we see in Ukraine or whatever,
right,
where they just throw 50 Molotov cocktails at once. It's because they don't want to be on the news.
Yep. Well, and you even said you were talking to a friend of yours, and they were like, yeah, well, the rioting ended like a month ago.
Exactly.
It's like, do you know what's going on in Portland right now?
Georgia.
Yeah.
Utah.
Georgia.
Two
Right.
national
all
emergencies
over the
declared
place.
in the past week and a half.
Like,
yeah, it's
Chicago. You know what's going on in
Oh,
Chicago?
man.
You know what's going on in New York? It's like, no.
people are stealing bread, I hear, from AOC.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so somebody super chatted us the other day from, I think it's Don't Walk Run Productions, did a video about AOC's claim that the reason crime is going up is because people are maybe stealing bread. And I don't know the host's name, but he was like, how much bread does AOC think is being stolen right now? Like, crime is up 130 something %.
Did you hear what de Blasio said?
What did
today?
he say?
He said, for the first time since World War II, we've had the lowest amount of inmates in our prisons.
Yeah, I know where they are.
And then he stood there like this.
It's like that meme where it's like,
Are you kidding me? You let them all out. If
know
they're
where
out
they
there
are.
shooting everybody.
but wait, this reminds me of that meme where it's like, I think there's like a Twitter account called like Obvious Fact something, and it was like, you can get rid of all criminals by making all crime legal.
Right.
Like, yeah,
purge.
if there's no crime on the books, there's literally so yes, you can. We have less inmates than we ever have because you let them all go without like finishing their sentences, and now you've got, I think it's like 13 to 15% are recommitting. It's like hundreds of people have committed crimes.
Crazy.
And AOC, this is the funniest thing. She's like, maybe it's because they're scared to pay their rent and they're hungry and are stealing bread or something. Oof. And Don't Walk Run Productions points out.
She's so clueless.
They point out that like petty larceny is down like 23%. Like literally, not only is that not what's happening, but nobody's even stealing these things.
Right.
Like the crime is gone. It's the murders and the shootings.
Yep.
I love that she thinks that. It's like some guy walks out and he goes, hey, look, there's a guy with his daughter. I need bread. Bang. I need to go get bread. And then he walks away. Like, does he frisk the guy looking for bread? Does he like walk up to the dude on the ground and be like, let me see, where's that bread at? Oh, there's no bread. Oh, how am I going to go get a loaf of bread?
Yeah, that video upsets me.
But like, I think that really does show that these people have no idea what's going on in their own jurisdictions.
No, they're clueless. AOC is clearly clueless. Now she's like fighting for taxing the rich. Tax the billionaires. And Cuomo's like, no.
Yeah, I know.
No. They'll leave town. You realize, right? They'll go
Yeah.
to a different city and we won't get their tax money at all.
He said, what did he say? God help us if the wealthy leave.
Right. Well,
So-
they're leaving. Surprise, surprise.
You're going to love this. There's a documentary about this from a long time ago about how Donald Trump saved New York City. by creating a desire for luxury inhabitants. So in the 80s, and I could be totally wrong because I just watched, like, I remember one night I was just like half glazed over sitting on the couch, like, and it was on in the background. So that's my extent of this knowledge. But they talked about how in the 80s, New York was collapsing.
Okay.
You know, the crime was skyrocketing, the tax base was eroding, nobody wanted to live there. So Trump basically came in and said, give me a massive tax break, make it worth my while.
They fought him on that too.
Yeah. And then he was like, I don't care. He's like, but give me a tax break. I'll bring some buildings. I'll get rich people to live here. Your tax base will skyrocket.
That's the Trump Tower right there.
And then there's multiple. You've got the Trump Tower on Fifth.
Well, that was the start. That was the beginning.
How many are there? There are 3? Or are there more?
Oh man, I mean,
so here's
how many that he built, or that have the name Trump on them?
Well, you've got the Trump International Hotel at Columbus Circle. You've got Trump on Fifth Avenue, and you've got Trump at the UN. So I don't know what the Trump at the Fifth Avenue one has, like the ice cream shop in it. That's the famous one where he comes down the escalator.
Yeah.
I actually know. I hung out once with a couple people who live across the street from the UN at the other Trump luxury building or whatever.
On the east side.
And then there's the Trump International Hotel. But his strategy was make it like desirable.
Yeah.
All the rich people want to be there. You want to be cool, man. You want to be like Trump. You want that golden toilet. You got to come to New York, and it worked.
Yep, it did.
Well, that's what I saw from this documentary that was running in the background while I was like eating ice cream or something. I have no idea. But you I don't know if you've come across that stuff because you've been reading a lot about it.
Well, yeah, that's why that was the beginning. Like they fought him for a while. Mayor, I think it was Mayor Koch. How do you say his name? I don't know. Whatever.
Koch.
Ed Koch.
Ed Koch. I think.
Yeah. They were fighting. They were fighting for a while about it, and Trump eventually won, and then built the building. But then, of course, filled it out. Like, people were like lining up.
Yep.
He sold one for like $10 million, one building, but it's like those taxes all
like
went
one unit or something.
All went into the city.
Right, exactly.
And it's like people don't realize the amount of like the ripple effect that just that one building had for the taxes of the city.
There's from I think it's the American Enterprise Institute. Mm-hmm. They did a graph showing the net income per income bracket.
Okay.
And most people receive benefits. Most people don't pay in.
Yep.
It's basically the top 10%, and then I think it's the top 20% is where you actually get a net benefit to the government. The top 1% covers the overwhelming majority of all taxes, something like that. You have to look up the hard numbers, but basically during Occupy Wall Street, there was the We Are the 99% movement,
okay,
where people would take pictures saying like, you know, I went to school and now I got $100,000 in debt and I can't pay it off because I work at McDonald's. I am the 99%. But then something happened on the other side where people started writing, I think it's the 47% of Americans who actually pay taxes.
Right.
Yeah. And so according to this graph I saw from the American Enterprise Institute, basically everybody pays taxes, right? But what people don't realize, and this is a serious problem for us, is that if you're making like $40K a year and you pay, 23% or whatever in taxes, you're probably receiving more benefit in terms of all the infrastructure,
right?
The entirety of public services. You're probably receiving more than you're paying in. And then you have the rich people, which are paying a ridiculous amount. And that's exactly why Trump wanted to bring people into New York. It's exactly why Andrew Cuomo said something like, I think he said, God help us if the wealthy leave.
Yep.
And now they're starting to leave. I pulled all this stuff up. I did a segment on it where I was like, Cuomo's worst nightmare is here.
Yep.
Following COVID, the wealthy
AOC.
people are fleeing. Oh, man, she lit that city on fire.
Yep.
This is not a joke, man. Amazon was going to build a second headquarters in Queens. 25 to 40,000 jobs.
Dang.
Do you have any idea how the tax base works? I'm saying this AOC, not to you.
Right.
Like that one person who gets hired by Amazon, they get paid $100K a year, whatever. We'll just say $100K because it's an Amazon job. Amazon's got to pay employment tax. Then that resident has to pay taxes. Then they rent a building. They pay taxes. Then they start paying into the metro system to get around. Then they start buying goods, sales taxes.
Yep.
That one person generates a massive amount of taxes because it's not just your paycheck. When I have $1, if I give it to you and you pay taxes on it, now you have 80 cents. Then you give me 80 cents. Then I pay tax on it. Now I've got 70 cents. Back and forth. Uncle Sam keeps taking a little bit. In this instance, Uncle Cuomo keeps taking a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
So when you have 25 to 40,000, let's say it was in the high end, man, that was money that city needed desperately because the MTA is facing a $4 billion shortfall. Those trains are going to stop working. They were going to shut down the L train. For those that don't live in New York, The hot hipster neighborhood, Williamsburg.
Yeah.
There's one train to get in there from Manhattan. The L.
Bed Bushwick.
Yeah.
Eastern Williamsburg.
Well, they just kept changing the names.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so basically, Williamsburg was the hot neighborhood. In order to convince people to move to crummier neighborhoods surrounding it, they would call it like East and Southeast Williamsburg.
Right.
Just like change the name of the neighborhood because
Like,
people
no,
want to live there.
That's Bed-Stuy.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
But so here's what happens. The L train was falling apart, so they announced they were going to suspend service. And then I think that was years ago. Like it was supposed to have been shut down. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it was vastly approaching before I left town. I mean, I skated most places. I would skate everywhere, so I didn't take the train that often unless I needed to get somewhere quickly and it was like dumping outside or whatever. I would then take the train.
The L train.
But the L train was supposed to shut down because it really, really needed some repair.
It kept breaking.
And then so they were going to shut it down for months.
No, like a year or something.
Oh yeah. Maybe even a year. I don't know exactly the amount.
My understanding of what happened, just as someone who lived nearby, not following the news that much, was that property value just tanked. Everybody was investing in this neighborhood, thinking like it's up and coming, it's super hot and hipster. The L train was basically one stop from Williamsburg into Manhattan. It just brought you under the water. When they announced they were going to shut it down, all of the real estate owners, the investors were like, no, like, oh man, we're going to lose everything.
Yep.
Because no one's going to want to live stuck in this little peninsula you can't get out. So anyway, long story short, they ended up suspending the time frame and moving it, but whatever. This is why the Amazon deal was so important, bringing these jobs in. And AOC, she leads these protests. She went down to the financial district and she was like, Amazon got to pay their fair share. And there's this really cringe video where she walks up to the camera, like she's walking out of a meeting, and then someone asks her like, Ocasio-Cortez, what about Amazon? And she goes, can you believe they were going to give Amazon $3 billion? And then everyone was like, dude, it was a discount.
Right.
They weren't giving money. So basically, if Dunkin' Donuts said $2 off a dozen donuts, she'd be like, I can't believe they're going to give people $2. No. You have to buy the donuts, and they're just a little cheaper than normally. See how that works?
Cyber Reset just sent, it's a little super chat. It said AOC is the new Marie Antoinette.
Oh, geez,
and
man.
It's so accurate. Like what you just said. Like, well, just give them some bread then.
Yeah.
That's basically what she's saying.
Why don't they just eat some bread?
Well, if they just want bread, why don't you just hook them up with some bread then? Why not?
Well, so she chased out Amazon and then started saying, I don't even represent that district. Why is everyone blaming me? And people were like, dude, you were like the lead like speaker at the protests to kick them out.
Because you have a following and people think they know what you're talking about, AOC. That's why.
She was tweeting about it and she was speaking about it and she was wrong about it.
Yep.
And Cuomo was livid and local Democrats were livid and she still won her primary. How about that? Yep. That blew my mind. So now you've chased out Amazon. Here's the best part. Oh, I love it. So Amazon announces they're going to open a marketing office, which has like 1,000 employees. And she takes a picture of herself in her lobby smiling like, mm-hmm. And then she tweets like, when you're proven right and Amazon comes back anyway. And then all of these dumb lefties are all high-fiving each other and going like, yeah, and everyone's like, first of all, that is 1,000 employees, not 25,000. Second of all, they were going to open that office anyway.
Right.
It's a different office, marketing.
Those jobs were already going to be there, but we just lost all these other jobs. Thanks, AOC.
To go back a little bit to what's going on in Portland, this is why I do not like the feds cleaning up the mess for these Democratic mayors and governors and whatever.
Yeah.
They just reelected AOC in the primary. I swear, if she's going to win the general, then New York City deserves it. They're asking for it. And Trump says he's not going to give them money. Good. If listen, here's the way I see it. If the people of Portland will not indict, they refuse to return indictments on these rioters, they clearly want it.
Yeah, it's true.
And if the mayor says we like our city burning down, well, okay, then the feds can go into the courthouse and defend the courthouse. And then Antifa can go around, running around, destroying whatever, and give the cities what they ask for. The problem is, if you, like you're a parent, if you keep cleaning up the messes for your kids, they never learn.
Yep.
And then what ends up happening is the more the federal government steps in to clean up the mess for these people, the more they keep electing them, and it gets worse. Then their senators get elected and their Congress people get elected and they go to the federal government and they bring that mess with them. What I think would be appropriate is if they don't want to indict people and they want rioters running around, oh well, it's the Portland cops' job to deal with that, not the feds.
Yep, I agree.
So the feds should guard the courthouse and just let the rioters do their thing. Maybe, but you know, someone mentioned this, that the people of Portland, they don't really care about what happens downtown because they don't live there. So this is the perfect opportunity for the left to start filming feds acting a fool, from their perspective, like, aha, look what they're doing. And regular people aren't there and they won't realize. So it's a perfect propaganda opportunity. Anyway, long story short, man, you get what you vote for,
Yep.
And Portland didn't vote for Trump. So why should Trump's pact be cleaning up their messes?
I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, they
shouldn't. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify. And we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.